It's not looking good, folks. It's not looking good at all. Genuinely. You've probably seen some version of this graph. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is now a captured entity, but it's not stopping them from showing this data. After much fuss, and they're rounding here, so we don't see the exact numbers, but the number of unemployed unemployed persons per job opening is now above 1. There are now more people looking for a job than there are jobs. With the exception of COVID, which was pretty anomalous, I'm sure you'll agree. That hasn't been the case since 2017. That's pretty bad. It took basically the entirety of Obama's term to bring this back down, you know? The 2008... Man, does anyone else feel like nobody talks about the 2008 financial crisis? Like, I know people do, but I think a lot of people underestimate how bad it was. Like, a lot of people, like, if you look at any graph measuring the economy around that time and what all the graphs look like, it's borderline a Great Depression. It's not quite that bad, but, like, legitimately, it's incomprehensibly bad. It's so bad. My parents talk about it, like, all the time. Yeah, guess it's just like an age rage thing. Turns out not punishing the folks involved in 2008 was like not punishing the Confederates. Yeah, basically. The jobs numbers are looking really bad. Oh, and it gets even worse, by the way. If you separate for full-time jobs and part-time jobs, we are rapidly losing full-time and getting more and more part-time. So in addition to an unemployment crisis, we're getting an increasing, and this has been the case for a while, but, you know, increasing underemployment crisis. So, you know, more and more people are having their, you know, their needs met with 24 hours of work, which in most of the United States is just not feasible unless you get a quite high-paying part-time job. It is not good. Lost jobs for the first time since the COVID crisis. Everyone wants the tariffs to end. Oh, we're bleeding manufacturing jobs. We're down like 53,000 manufacturing jobs since the start of the year. Inflation's going up. Unemployment's going up. Oh, yeah, and Trump said that these numbers are all fake, and the real numbers will come next year. So right now, we're only just we're at the tip of the iceberg, and his argument is like, don't worry, by next year it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. It's all fake news. So if you get fired, it's fake news, okay? Don't worry about it. Real goddamn rough.
Let's break all this down with CNBC senior economics reporter Steve Leisman, Washington bureau chief.
Nerds. Don't want to watch these people. You know what I want? CBS Business. Give me the real money, man. Give me the real evil motherfuckers. That's what I want to see. Yes. Wait, not CBS. What am I thinking of? Not CBS. What's the program we watch? CNBC. Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm thinking of. Oh, no.
We are just a few seconds away from that August employment number. Rick Stanzelli is standing by. He's been watching all of this as we get ready to go to this number. Rick, we're going to send it over to you.
Wow, and the data is actually coming across the wires on time. Good job, BLS. Change in non-farm payrolls for the August jobs report, 22,000. 22,000. Interest.
I love that they react to it live, too. So whenever the really dismal news comes in, they have to, like, keep the energy going. 22,000 jobs gained. This is after a revision that cut the number of jobs gained last period as well. So we're looking at, like, overall a net job stagnation, which is really bad, especially because the jobs that are opening up are part-time jobs.
Rates started dropping long before this data was released. And last month, well, a subtle revision to 79,000. And if you look at the 2-month revision, thank goodness it's not minus 258,000 like it was last month. Comes out to minus 21,000. Of everybody, of course, is trying to find out what's going on with the unemployment rate. We'll do that next. The unemployment rate comes in at comes in at 4.3. So it moved higher. Now, here's something interesting. What's the comp? We haven't had a rate that high going all the way back to 2021 when it was 4.5. So you can see that the way it dropped really was quite incredible. We went from 4.2 to 4.5 in November-October period of 2021. Now, let's go at average hourly earnings, up 0.3. Very solid, very much as expected. If we look at year over year.
Average hourly earnings don't mean that much when most people work part-time jobs, you know? It's like, yeah, everyone's hourly earnings have gone up marginally, but the number of hours everyone works has been cut by like 40%.
Here, 3.7, losing some steam. 3.8 was expected. 3.9 was in the rearview mirror. So 3.7, that would definitely take us back also to mid-2021 to find a comp there. Hours worked. Many people are counting on this to give them some early clues, thinking...
Jesus Christ, look at that. Look at that drop-off. Look at that.
Hours are going to drop a bit before people potentially get fired. There's two ways to look at it. Maybe you give your remaining people more hours before you hire people. I think it could go either way. It comes in at 34.2. That would be the second lowest of the year. We've had several. 34.1 is where we started the year. So 34.2, kind of figures right in.
And there's the dollar index. So now, relative to before the announcement, it looks like the dollar's value has dropped by 0.4% relative to its previous value. Oh, no, it says right here 0.7% over the past 3 hours.
There.
Can't do
and
math,
finally,
sorry.
Let's look at some of the other...
We won. Remember, you are not garbage, a bigot, a Nazi, or whatever these freaks threw at you. You love your country and want what's best for everyone. Be proud of that. Me, what an enduring legacy. I hope that guy feels proud.
Numbers we like to pay very close attention to. If we look at the labor force participation rate, and this has not been a good thing, it really has been moving down. We were at 62.6 at the beginning of the year. We're now at 62.3. That's 1/10 better than expected, 1/10 better than the rearview mirror, equals where we were in June. To find a higher one, you have to go to May at 62.4. As I said, it's been steadily moving lower. And finally, we go from 4.3, which is known as U3, the unemployment rate, to U6, which is called the underemployment rate. That zoomed up here also to 8.1%. 8.1% would be the high of the year. Matter of fact, once again, where are we going to find a comp? We're going to the fall of 2021.
Yeah, so like right now, like the only comparable figures we have for a lot of this economic data is the COVID spike, but it's worth keeping in mind that the COVID spike was a more or less one-time thing. Like when COVID hit and the lockdowns happened, that was the hit. And then after that, everything started improving. For all we know, things could keep getting worse for a very long time, It's not like after the worst part of COVID, it was all downhill from there. It got easier. In this case, we're still ramping up, baby. We're still ramping up, baby. Fox News coping when it got the numbers. Oh, please, please, please.
Expectation here, private payrolls coming in. The expectation was 75,000. We got 38,000, and there was a loss of 16,000 jobs in government, which I think Lauren mentioned. But again, that 22,000 number, Charles, it's a weaker than expected number, and these revisions are pretty brutal.
Yeah, extraordinarily. Gone through. I mentioned healthcare, 31,000. The 12-month average is
again like Fox Business host saying extraordinarily. I understand that a lot of this stuff is sailing over your guys' heads, and I'm not saying that in a condescending way. I've been getting really into like the econ nitty-gritty stuff, so it's a little bit more on my mind. Just if a Fox Business host is saying these numbers are extraordinarily bad, like that is an indictment, okay?
42,000. That had been obviously a massive driver.
They can't even afford a fucking good microphone.
We know the demographic situation there. Just a little disappointed. Manufacturing was hoping to maybe see something there.
Nope.
But
plummeting.
It's just, I think for the most part, if there was a whisper number, and I'm sure there was.
Oh my God.
This might be right where the whisper number is. And this is a sweet spot, I think, from the market's perspective. We can see the major averages are moving higher. It's not so bad that we're thinking recession, but it's bad enough that we think maybe the Fed could be much more accommodative beyond September.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind, we would objectively be in a recession right now if it wasn't for, like the Magnificent Seven, Magnificent Eight, the big tech companies. Like, the economy is floating on an AI bubble right now, where an enormous amount of money is being driven into the stock market due to speculation over, I don't know, Nvidia reaching $10 trillion a share. Like, the stock market would be in decline if it was not for that speculative bubble. So we're not in a recession technically, but in terms of where the money's circulating and how it looks in effect, like we might not be in the definition of a recession, but outside that bubble, we are effectively in one. Does that make sense? Like, there is a small pocket of the economy that is performing in a way that prevents us from meeting the technical definition of a recession. But if you look at the world outside of that, outside of the bubble, it is one.
And also, too, Jody Biley, labor force participation rate 62.3%. Your reaction?
Yeah, so we're not seeing much movement in that number, which is disappointing and surprising, to be honest with you, Cheryl, because we're seeing that there is starting to be some increase in the weekly jobless claims. And so I like to look into that number and say, are we seeing more people say they want to participate in the workforce? I also think this report is a little bit more of the same. The jobs are in healthcare, they're in leisure and hospitality. We've lost jobs again in the professional business service.
So the tumors are growing so fast the U.S. is not losing weight? I think that's a great way of putting it, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. The United States isn't losing weight because the tumors are growing so quickly.
Sector, we've lost jobs in this report in the temporary help sector, which is not a good sign. So there's a lot of concern. Even though the private payroll number is 38,000, that is still a pretty weak number.
It's, again, this is Fox Business. This is the tone Fox Business is taking. And yeah, I did see data to this effect as well. If you want to know where jobs are coming in, healthcare and social assistance. It's all to elderly people. It's the boomers again. The only sectors that are seeing substantial job growth, healthcare and social assistance, leisure and hospitality. It's just catering to the wealthy and the old. Every single time. Yeah. Where are we losing the most jobs? Professional and bus services, federal government, manufacturing, wholesale trade, construction, mining, and logging. You know, the things that actually, like, affect people. Like the material things that actually, like, build a nation, you know? Everything that matters, basically. Jesus Christ.
But we begin this hour with a worse than expected U.S. jobs report. The country adding 22,000 jobs in August. That is significantly lower than the 75,000 some analysts had predicted. Unemployment is at a 4.3%. That is the highest rate since 2021.
Yeah.
As far as revisions go, the Bureau of Labor Stats now saying the U.S. added 79,000 jobs in July. That is up from 73,000 in the original report.
This sector could also include people with disabilities. No, it doesn't, because those jobs in the healthcare industry are almost all administrative. Trust me, it's not more like care being provided. You know why? Because if there was a wider range of care, it would drive down the price. Instead, the prices are going up, and because they're going up, the industry can afford to support like 57 middlemen to any actual frontline provider. For every doctor or nurse you meet, there's like 20 guys whose job it is to rubber stamp files involved in some way in insurance paperwork. They're leeches. They're tumors.
But in June, the economy lost jobs. CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady comes to us live this morning from the New York Stock Exchange for more on all of this. So, Kelly, first off, are you surprised about these numbers, and how are the markets reacting to all of this right now?
Not really surprised, Chanel. I mean, look, what we have seen is a continuation of what we've seen the past few months, and that is a significant slowdown in terms of the labor market in the U.S. economy. And it backs up what we have heard from businesses. It's not that we are seeing mass firings, but we are seeing businesses pause. They're not mass hiring either because of all of the uncertainty, whether it be tariffs, whether it be AI, whether it be consumer sentiment. When you dig into these numbers, that 22,000, sorry about that. If you heard that noise, that was just something falling. We're going to soldier on.
I did hear it, and I am mad.
That 22,000 is not crazy, you know, when you think about the fact that you have those revisions that we saw back in May and June to the tune of 258,000 less jobs than originally reported. But what this does tell you is there are certain sectors that are losing jobs. Manufacturing, there are certain sectors that are adding jobs. Healthcare in this report.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's all sort of balancing out to 22,000. The thing that I will note, though, is August, historically, this tends to be a really messy month, and we wouldn't be surprised if we actually saw these numbers revised up. If you just
okay, all right, no, I see, no, okay, well that's the White House line, I suppose. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if this is what they use to like finally justify a rate cut, which would not help.
For more on the jobs report and possible impact to Fed policy, I want to bring in Roger Ferguson. He is the former Fed vice chairman, someone who's been inside that room. He's been pretty right about what the Fed's going to do throughout all of this. He's also a CNBC contributor. So you saw the numbers, sir. What was your reaction as you were watching those pour through?
Yeah, my reaction was it's roughly as expected. We know that there are many signs that the job market is cooling, but I wouldn't say it's a cold job market. The ratio discussion was right, and I think the unemployment rate at 4.3, while edging up, I don't think is in alarming territory. So I think it's pretty much consistent with the Fed's primary theme, which is perhaps a rate cut in September, may be appropriate. But I'd also say that it's very much a data-dependent Fed. We've got more data to come, so I think the September rate cut seems in place right now. I think the markets are a little ahead on the next two meetings.
So egg prices are going to go up. You can expect like inflation increases in the long term, but also I feel like rate cuts wouldn't even affect the job market that much because they might push it to a point where it's just better business to use the money you have to leverage more borrows and investments than it would be to actually do your job. This is the problem, man. Like, companies like Walmart are few and far between. Most of the time, these companies that make money off of actually producing and selling things are working on pretty, like, marginal revenue. Like the percent that they are getting back. Walmart has what, like a 2% profit margin? Maybe 2%, like on a good day. Airlines barely even scrape 0%, And with all the tariffs especially, why would you ever waste your time trying to make money buying, building, and selling things when you could just borrow money and invest it? Like, everything that people actually need to live is getting less and less profitable, and everything that has nothing to do with people living is getting more and more profitable.
Well, that's where I wanted to go with this. So you're saying yes to September, but now that we have two more cuts built in, you're saying maybe not?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying a definite no. I think it's too early. I think the Fed itself is very much in a data-dependent mode. People often have also forgotten that, the commentary we've heard from Fed officials since Jackson Hole, I would say, has been cautionary. If the number of people saying not so sure how fast we want to go.
All right, nerd. Fox Business, take it away. Close this out.
Let's get back to the August jobs report. Fairly weak. Only 22,000 jobs added in August. Labour Secretary Laurie Chavez-Derima joins me now. Madam Secretary, welcome back to the show. It's good to see you.
Invest them where? In the stock market, dude. People are gonna go fucking nutso. People are gonna go like, oh my God, the economy is booming. The numbers are going up. If you haven't invested in the stock market, you're a fucking idiot. Nvidia has gone to the moon. Yeah. But like, everyone will be dying, basically.
You.
Good to see you as well.
The job market's slowing. Surely there is no excuse for the Fed not to lower interest rates.
Oh my God, it's the fucking Fed's fault. Jesus fucking Christ, man. It's the Fed's fault. There's no one else who could have done this. We're all looking to find the guy who did this. It's definitely Jeremy Powell, who's been disrupting the economy lately.
Sharply. I'm sure you agree with that, Madam Secretary.
Absolutely. Jerome Powell should be embarrassed by this report because he has not done his job.
Jesus
the president was right in 2016, and the president is right now. Everybody has done their job. The president in his tariff talks, the trade deals, the trade deficit, making sure that is for the American people, that he has balanced that. Congress did their part in passing the One Big Beautiful Bill, the working tax cuts for Americans. But Jerome Powell has not done his job. He needs to lower that interest rate so that makes sure all three legs of that stool are doing their job for the American people.
Do tariffs have anything to do with this slowing job market?
No chance whatsoever. No chance. Well, absolutely not. No, of course not. How could that possibly be the case? That's ridiculous for you to even ask that.
Tariffs are working. I've been on the road, as you know, in 32 states out of my 50-state tour. Tariffs are working.
God.
How do I know this? Because companies are reinvesting in the American workforce. We're seeing the consumer confidence up.
By cutting 50,
real wages up.
By cutting 50,000 manufacturing jobs, yeah.
Year over year, almost 4% real wages are up. Blue collar boom, I talk about it. It seems like something that is rhetoric, but it's not, because that's what we're seeing on the ground. Blue collar wages are up 1.4%. Unemployment is still holding steady. Statistically, it's non-existent.
It went up. It went up. Unemployment went up. It went up to 4.3%. It went up. That was part of the report.
So that's the key to the American people, is that we're leaning in, we're doing everything we can for this workforce, and now this is one more thing that the Fed can do, and Jerome Powell hasn't done his job, and the president, that's why he's been so vocal about this. We need those interest rates down.
Would you admit to being just a little disappointed by this weakening job market?
Well, 22,000 jobs underperformed just a bit, but it's still in the positive. Almost 500,000 jobs have been created since the president took office.
Yeah, part-time jobs. We've lost all the full-time ones. Oh, my God, man.
It's going to take some time. But again, when everybody's working for the American people and the American worker, and somebody chooses not to, and they're instrumental in those decisions that affect the market, that affect the wage growth, that affect all of those things, do your job. And I know that the president's not going to let up on this, and neither am I.
The manufacturing jobs in this latest report, down 12,000. I don't think the president wants to see that, does he?
Nah, he actually wants, trust me, it's all part of the plan. It's all good unless it's a lefty lie. And if it's bad, then it's that.
No, absolutely not. What he wants to see is the reinvestment in the workforce and manufacturing and construction. That's where we need the skilled training. That's why I'm on the road, to understand that we're going to make America skilled again. So as these companies continue to invest, $8 trillion has already been invested, and we're going to see more and more of that.
That's not true. I know they say this a lot. It's just really important to understand that $8 trillion have not been invested in the American economy. That's ludicrous. It's completely insane. It's just factually not the case. That's like greater than the budget of the United States government.
We're going to need that workforce so that those jobs numbers go up. I'll be working with our state partners, and I know I've said this over and over again. We're going to get those funds to our respective state partners, be the best federal partner we can be, so that workforce is ready to go as soon as they are needed. And so, yes, it's going to take some time, but this job, it takes hard work. The president's leading the way, and we're going to continue to lean in and make America, skilled again. And what I do love to see is those 100,000 jobs of federal workers that have gone down, and we're going to grow the private sector jobs. 84% of the jobs that have, out of the 500,000, are from the private sector. And
that's fucking great. That's awesome. That's exactly what the people need, non-union part-time jobs that pay like shit. Yeah, I told you guys this from the start. No matter how bleak things may seem from an accelerationist perspective, the economy is preposterously complicated. Even competent managers of the economy end up fucking it up, like, pretty often. Authoritarians love to do this. They love to do this. They love to absolutely fucking haymaker the economy. No matter how much they bluster, there's just no getting around the fact that, like, you need to have all your chips in order if you're going to do something like this, and they never do.
And we want to continue to see that investment by those businesses.
One last one, and I think I've talked to you about this before. How do we know that those manufacturing jobs that come back to America won't be done by robots? Because that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like is going to happen.
Oh, absolutely not. AI is here to stay, but it's to assist the American worker and the American business. That's what I'm hearing on the ground, again, from these private sectors. They're using AI at the leadership.
The rhetoric is so fucking incoherent, man. The administration is pro-AI in every possible sense because it's a big speculative bubble that wealthy people can make a lot of money off of. But also, they're like, no. We want to bring back American textile manufacturing. We want Americans crawling through the looms, unwinding the knotted strings with their own bare hands while the machine still functions. We don't need mechanization. We don't need automation. We don't need any of that bullshit. Then what the fuck do you want AI for? What's the purpose? It seems like the AI that the right wants, like in an economic sense, is just grok. They want like social media disinfo bots and anime girls you can talk to. They don't want it to affect the economy in any real way outside of like Palantir, They want Palantir and grok, exactly.
Again, of the president's executive order. But you know what we want? We want to make sure that we're investing in the workforce to have AI-driven jobs. But I can tell you this, as we move through this process, we want them proficient and literate in AI. I heard David Sachs talk yesterday when I was with the First Lady at this AI conference. I'm on the subcommittee. And what we want to make sure that we're assisting the American worker, because what we don't want is them competing against another American worker who knows AI better than them. So we want everybody proficient and literate in AI as we move forward in this economy to grow this American economy and have more people keep more of their hard-earned dollars in their own pockets.
Madam Secretary, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for being with us.
Incoherent. Yeah, the economy is fucked. As a Twitter post so recently put it, now is a phenomenal time to not quit your job, you know? It's not 2022 anymore, okay? It's not the workers' economy. It's not, you know, let's all quiet quit. It's not you know, it's our time to decide or whatever. Now, you need to stay in that shit job. Sorry, buddy. Your ass needs to stay right there. What if I don't have a job? You should get a job, I think. It's usually pretty good at, like, helping you pay bills and for food and stuff, which is also a bill. A few months ago, the manufacturing place I worked at downsized 30% because our biggest customer reduced their order. They make fuel control systems for data center generators, and Google and Meta slowed their construction because they got spooked by the tariff uncertainty. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Oh, it's rough. It's rough, people. God, look at that. This chart begins back in 2023. I mean, we're not exactly talking about, we're not talking about like a huge range here. Am I cooked if I'm a CS major? Look, I don't want to be pessimistic, okay? I'm not saying that you're cooked. However, it's not the easiest time to be you. That's all I'm saying. The whole market is pretty fucked, yeah.